personal to private. 4,000 people. And yet there was some kind of feeling that a book would be a lot more invasive, I think, than what I've been doing. But at some point, a woman I had known for 20 years or so asked to talk to me about this nightly email journal. And she said that she had lost a husband and a son within 6 weeks of each other, 25 years earlier, so about 5 years before I met her. And although we had been friends, we weren't the kind of friends who talked every day and, we were casual friends. And she said that in those 25 years she had never talked to anybody about this. She had just kept clammed up. And that as a result of reading what I was writing every night, she had been able somehow to open up and talk about her own experiences, and that it had changed her life forever, positively. And and she encouraged me to do more with what I had written and was writing. And that kind of, I still don't quite get it, but you don't have to hit me over the head with a hammer. And and that was when I first began to think there's a future for this beyond just each night's email. So let me read a couple of things here. Let's see. I folded down way too many pages. There are just enough crazy people in this crowd who have been to more than one of these events that I don't really want to. I don't really want to just be completely repetitive, but so I keep a few different selections here. But January 16th, 2004. The night of January 16th, Maddie had a good day. She's the only one. Seth had an emotional day, and for a while I kept pace with her step for step. We went out to look for light fixtures, but ended up sitting in a parked car crying. What do you say when your wife says, "I don't want to die"? I've always had an answer, or at least a response to any question, even if the answer was only a glib one or a stab in the dark. Today, as she wept next to me in front of a lighting store, I couldn't come up with a single word. I just sat there and cried with her. And it wasn't even a clean, cathartic moment such as commonly fills dramatic moments in movies. In the midst of our grief for what might be lost, we were also ragged around the edges from anger, at each other, at ourselves, at this whole bloody whirlpool of horror we'd fallen into. Alfred Hitchcock said that drama was life with the dull bits cut out. Well, I'm telling you that drama, at least the kind we see on screen or television, also cuts out most of the clutter, even if that clutter isn't remotely dull. Catharsis on ER never seems to include the fact that two people who love each other desperately and who face a dread disease together may also be two people who, right through the middle of it, continue to gripe at each other over the chore ignored or the task forgotten. A sudden desperate illness and the more desperate fight for survival doesn't change the fact that one of you may occasionally be boorish or stupid and the other occasionally picayunish or illogical. At first, of course, the horror of what's overtaken you and your desperation to hang on to your life and love wipe away all the petty concerns and baggage of years together. But if time permits, you find that even the pettiest concerns rise up through the quagmire of fear and exigence to nibble at your heels and make you bleed from little vulnerabilities you thought crisis had lifted you above. And then there's guilt. How could you? How could I? How could I possibly say and do something so small when something so large looms? How does one conceivably snap at someone who has every right to fear the close, hot breath of death. If not patience and forbearance then when? Cecily's tears were not simply for herself. She's so tormented by the notion that she fought so hard to bring Maddie into the world only to leave her to fend for herself and without the necessary resources. I think she has little confidence in my potential ability as a single parent, and no more than that in my longevity. She's afraid that Maddie will bear the greatest burden in all this, and all because Cess wanted so bad to have a child and to show her that a happy childhood was possible. I don't share the level of fear Cess has on these counts because I think Cess will be here, that I will be here, and that Maddie will do well with either or both of us. But fear can sabotage the bravest heart, and brave though she is, Cess's fears are palpable and not quickly wiped away with casual reassurance, or even thorough and reasoned reassurance. How do you promise someone in her condition that everything will be all right, and not, by doing so, convince her that you're either a liar or an idiot? How do you show her there's no boogeyman when you can't find the light switch and there's a breathing sound in the closet?